Hey guys, how we doing? It's Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. Yesterday we absolutely nailed it. I'm not gonna lie, it's almost to perfection. In fact, I started to call for yesterday's drop on April the 21st. Obviously, it's May the 5th today. Given the exact target of where we literally wicked down to because of the liquidity pools below us, the wick that we actually did get in the end was pretty much perfect. We talked about coming down to 56,000. Around 56,500, 56,800, somewhere around there, and that's pretty bang on to where we got. There's one thing that I am slightly worried about is that there's a little bit more liquidity building up below us, but look how much liquidity there is up here, guys. That's where I ultimately think we're going. That's what I've been talking about in the newsletter for weeks. I do think this is a bear trap and just a deviation from the range. Let's see if we respond positively. Obviously, the FOMC came in pretty positive yesterday, which is, or at least not negative, and a lot of people were expecting negative. And I said, look, a lot of people are feeling that way. They're leaning towards that. There's negative bias in the market right now, and that makes me feel like we're going to see something unexpected. And we didn't see anything particularly unexpected, but Powell didn't come in and say anything particularly bearish either. So it gives us the basis to start to push up. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one little wick down into that liquidity before we start pushing up. That's definitely something that's on my bingo card right now. Whether it definitely happens or not, I don't know. My call was to this level. From here, I'm buying, like I put my trade on yesterday. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the video as well. But this is where we're heading to, in my opinion. Up 74,000 plus. We're at 57,000 right now. Exactly how we get there, I'm not sure as of right now. I'm assessing as we go. I'll let the market tell me what I think is coming next. But there is potential for one little wick down to like maybe 56,000 flat. I don't think we come down much further than that personally. So let's have a look at Bitcoin, not on the liquidation charts or on the liquidity chart, just Bitcoin spot. Came into the area we talked about yesterday. This little cluster here that we've got circled, very nice. And we look on the daily RSI is one thing I wanted to point out and talk to you guys about. It's pretty much the lowest it's been on this whole run up. Like the daily RSI is the lowest it's been since $24,000 Bitcoin. So we've almost completely reset our daily RSI. For me, positive sign. Yes, there was a lot of volume on the sell-off, but it wasn't like mad volume. A lot of it came from the ETFs and the institutions, as we talked about. As I talked about this morning. So just looking for some sort of bounce now, some volume to come in. Obviously, some nice green volume here on this candle, but that's more of a rejection. So it's a bit of a fake candle to be looking at. That's why it's often good to be looking in on the hourly time frames to see. So you've got a red engulfing candle there. But this is just forming a range. It reminds me very much of that 24,000 area for Bitcoin as well, to be honest. People are going to argue that we're going to form like a bear pennant here and continue down. I honestly don't think that that's going to happen. I think we're about there. If we look at the open interest and the premium for open interest is still premium on shorts, which means most people are short. There is still an uptick, even though not so big, in our spot volume. So on the pushes up that we've had, it's been mainly driven by spot, as you can see. When this came down here and we defended this low, you see this volume's come in, we stepped up in spot volume. And then as we started to try and push out this zone, that main push was supported by spot buying. But if we look at the aggregated open interest on that push up that was supported by spot buying, the open interest actually did start to come down a little bit. So why is that? That's probably shorts closing into the spot buying. So I think this is looking quite bullish. I know that that bottoms are really hard to call, and there's always a bit of trickery that goes on in crypto. But I personally do feel that this is all just a deviation of a range. And this is the range that we deviated from. Essentially, these two white lines here, we've come down, pessimistic, big drop down, and now I'm looking for some sort of big bounce. Does it come from one more wick below and then a push up? Or do we start to just slowly grind up here, get to this level, start to see some strength, and start to play a pattern out, something like this? Obviously, the time wasn't quite right in terms of time. I was never trying to forecast time. I was trying to just give you a structure of where I thought we'd play out. So I'd be looking to bounce up, down, up above, down, and off we go. So continuing with what I think is going to happen next in the markets, I think that, so we've just talked about that, so let's go on to the next tweet. So I think that Bitcoin dominance is falling and about to continue to fall. I talked about this a while ago, so that's not actually the tweet I want to show you, it's this one. I said we were so close to my actual target. My target was 57.18% of Bitcoin dominance before reversal. We got about 0.15% away from that. This tweet's from April the 14th. And then what I said, basically what I thought could happen next is if we reject this level, we could see an alt season here. I said it was difficult to hang my hat on this completely because the last two alt seasons have occurred around 70% for Bitcoin. But my thesis has always been, and I've written about this over on Twitter as well, so you can go and check that out. My thesis has always been that Bitcoin has a diminishing market share over time as alts start to step up and take the place of some real world utility. I think that Bitcoin's percentage market share will always fall over time. Obviously, there's no statistics to prove this out because it's a young market, but that's just been my feeling. If crypto's here to stay, alts are probably going to come in and start doing things that we actually need in society, so that's why that thesis is there. At this level is where I was looking for an alt season and a pullback down in this range. If we look at where we are, then this is when we got the rejection, I said we needed to hold this level for Bitcoin if Bitcoin wanted to continue on its dominant run, and it looks like we're starting to break through that level now. I'm going to touch on XRP in 1 second. Let's just quickly look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, again, this is it. It's going to be a bit messy because I'm doing this on the fly, guys, as you know. Here is what I was looking at. The bottom of the range would be here. Bitcoin could quite easily come down to the bottom of the range. The exact chart I was just showing you was this part here where it was just wicking up, not quite hit my target. The reason I had that target there is because the bottom of these wicks here and the closes of these candles here as well, but it's there or thereabouts in that area. We've come down, we've lost this previous resistance as support, and we're going to come down now. Hopefully this is the start of something great for alts. That's something I called out yesterday with how alts are basically performing well. This cycle is making me feel more and more like 2017. In 2017, we had the run-up, pullback, created a range, pull back again, and then we sent it off to the races. A double pullback of quite aggressive, this is for Bitcoin again, for quite aggressive price action. But then what came next was amazing. For Bitcoin, we had a 1,431% move, and for alts, we had about 3 to 4 times that at around 3,700% move, and that is what I think we're on the precipice of right now. If we look for XRP specifically, because I've talked about this trade that I'm in, where is it? I've not got it open actually. If we look at XRP specifically, I tweeted out this trade yesterday. I got in here, the bottom of the range, nice entry, and I'm looking to hold to the top of the range, and we'll reassess if we start to get up there. Obviously, as I said, is Bitcoin going to wick down and flush out one more time? I'm unsure. XRP was holding up very strongly yesterday. If we look at the XRP versus Bitcoin chart and the XRP versus Ethereum chart, nothing is yet confirmed. We need to be breaking above this level here for Bitcoin and against Bitcoin for XRP, and above this level here against Ethereum for XRP for bullish confirmation. Yesterday's looking good. We got some nice price action. As I've said multiple times, we're seeing bullish divergences on both the XRP versus Ethereum chart and the XRP versus Bitcoin chart with some strong volume yesterday. But we're just right back in that reactionary level right about now. If we look on the 4-hourly, this is exactly where you can see there's potential areas for resistance. I want to see maybe a little pullback and then a push up. See if we can get that close above this level here that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks. And the same for Ethereum. Can we get a close above this grey box? And then we're off to the races, in my opinion, guys. So that's basically what I'm looking at. The other crypto I talked about yesterday was HBAR. Did have a bit of a push out, and I think it's starting to pull back a bit now. Pushed out, pulled back, nice volume on the push out. Again, I think the alts are maybe consolidating for another push higher here. Obviously, as I said, it does rely on Bitcoin. Let's see how today plays out. I'm still holding this trade open. I feel like we've shaken the bad news. This is just a bit of like aftermath, maybe a little puke at the end to really shake out the last few people for Bitcoin, get that reaction from the lows and push us higher. But I also think that, as I said, bottoms are really tough to work out, and there's a high chance that we do just chop here and then start to really grind out of this area, supported by the spot buying that I talked about earlier in the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Obviously, keep your eye on the RSIs. Look for bullish divergences in these sort of areas. Stay safe out there. Don't get over leveraged. Anything could still happen in these periods. We've got factors all over the world, as we've talked about a lot, like the JPY yesterday. Again, I think they intervened yesterday. Boom. Yeah, there they did. And if we look at the DXY, how's that doing? It's still chopping within that range, faked out above the little bull flag that I was talking about, and then came back within the range that I've been going on about for days now, or actually weeks and weeks actually. So that's what we're keeping our eye on. There's a lot of different moving factors. We've got Japan, China, the US, the banking system, all of that we're trying to keep an eye on at the same time as watching what's going on with crypto. As I said, stay safe, don't over leverage here, but looking at buying alts and DCA in at the bottom of this range where we are now, it's not going to be a bad buy in my opinion, as long as we continue to the upside, which history is basically telling us that we should. Peace up, A-Town Down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.